Well, good evening, everybody. I am Mia Mason. I'm a congressional candidate here in Maryland's 1st Congressional District, running from the hills of Carroll County all the way down to Elkton, which, is the border of Pennsylvania and Delaware, all the way out to the Ocean City on the Atlantic Ocean. Our district's the size of 2 Delawares, and it takes a long time to get anywhere because we have been stuck in the past, and tonight we're hoping to change that with our final discussion about why we should be legalizing marijuana and the products that are produced by it. So tonight we are joined by Rita Lynn and Mary Beth once again from our previous episode, part 3. So if you haven't seen that, please make sure that you click on the video below so that you can actually see it on the next time. You can always find it on YouTube. Now, before we get into all the little introductions into this town hall, so we can make sure that you understand who Rita is and who Mary Beth is, we want to make a question to you, the audience. Name one product that is made from hemp. So if you can, put it in the chat box or into the Twitterverse or the Facebook Messenger, and of course in here, into the Zoom chat if you RSVP'd with us, which means that you got to see us before the show and after the show. So now we're going to be talking about me, which we've already introduced myself pretty well. But we have Rita, who holds a PhD as a mother and a friend. Passions are working on Facebook and growing a women's ministry with her church. She's also an advocate for cannabis, which I personally knew and met her about, and I was like, yeah, we can get along, all right. And then of course the health benefits that relate from it. Now we also have Mary Beth, who is part of Mary Jane, which is MARIJANE, all right, consultants, where she helps patients get certified to attain their medical marijuana cards. And it's not like a green card, a yellow card, a red card, or training timeout card for us in the military. This is actual something to help you with medical substances. So welcome, ladies. Anything you would like to add about yourselves?
Go ahead, Rita. I don't have anything to add about myself. I just want to say thank you to Mia, and just thank you for your service to our country and our local state, and for inviting us on this platform. This is courageous and fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. How about you, Mary?
I feel the same way that Rita does. I am grateful to be able to be here to talk to you ladies and to hear what anyone out in the audience has to say, and to learn what we're going to talk about tonight with hemp.
Good. Because even folks who have joined us, like Jeff, shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. And nobody else has decided to say anything about what is a product made out of hemp. So who would like to go with that first? And I'll just skip the plastics because that's something that's easy to say. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to jump into fiber. I think it's fascinating how much stronger hemp fibers are. Fabrics, clothing, more than cotton even. Fabric's amazing.
Good. And what about you, Mary?
I was surprised. I haven't done a lot of reading into it, but what I have seen is the building materials, how much stronger and more renewable the resources are to use hemp as building materials.
Okay. Well, shout out to Matt Reisinger, who has a YouTube channel. He has had a recent video in the past month about hemp and what is called hemp creep. And basically, it creates the entire house to be fire resistant and fire proof. But it also can be used completely as the structure itself, which means that you only are building out of hemp and the rebar or the steel that you want to be able to use to support your home, which I think is absolutely amazing, which means you actually get what I think he was like a R24 or R25 rating out of it. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure YouTube can tell me otherwise in the bottom. So let's get into the questions. Mary, what are the qualifying factors for a patient to receive a medical card?
So the state of Maryland says that there are certain qualifying conditions that a patient has to meet in order to qualify for their card. And there are certain diagnoses that they have already stipulated, things like anxiety, nausea, seizures, glaucoma, cancer, wasting disease, things like that are already pre-existing conditions. Now, They also have another catch-all, which is basically any disease or illness that has not responded satisfactorily to other methods. So if it's not a specific one that's listed, that doesn't mean that you automatically cannot get your card. That just means that they have to that you have to have the appointment with the provider to determine that you've already tried other things and it just isn't working.
Understood. So basically, you've exhausted like every type of testing, measure, treatment method that the insurance company is willing to bill you for, which normally is an escalation of pain, torture, and, probably not the treatment that you need. So what is the process of obtaining the card if they're looking to get one?
So the process to obtain the card is you would need to apply to the state first. They have a website where you apply. There are certain things. They really only ask for your demographic information. They don't ask for any kind of health information. It's limited right now to just residents of Maryland. They do have something on the site that says if you could apply as an out-of-state resident if you are receiving medical care in the state. But each time I've called them, they said they're not accepting out-of-state applications at this time. So if you are a resident of Maryland, you don't have to have a Maryland driver's license, but you do have to have proof that you live here with utility bills or bank statements, things like that, to verify your Maryland mailing address. Once you apply to the state, you do have to upload a couple of pictures. In the last 60 days or so, they've changed the policies on the website, and if you have a VA medical card, or if you have the red and white medical assistance card, they waive the $50 application fee. So that is at least a tiny step in the right direction. So I was thrilled to see that. Once you've uploaded your pictures and you've submitted your application, and whether or not you paid your $50 if you needed to, the state then processes the applications in a first come, first served basis. Right now, I think they're running about 4 weeks processing applications before they get your number back to you. Once you have your number, then you need a certification from a medical provider, which is what we do. It's an appointment. It's a talking appointment. It's not a physical exam or anything like that. And luckily, we are able to use telemedicine now, and people are able to get appointments that way. And once you have your certification, which you would have at the end of your appointment with the provider, you could take your certification and your photo ID, and you could go to the dispensary and start feeling better.
That's awesome. So in all, it could be as quick as 2 months before somebody's actually able to go into an authorized seller and purchase the cannabis product, correct?
Yes, I would say 1 month at the earliest. Like I said, it's about 4 weeks that it takes them to process applications. So I think 4 weeks, anything shorter than 4 weeks would be hopeful. Okay. But I think realistically it would be 4 weeks.
Well, I'm used to the VA. Anything under 2 months is like amazing. I remember when I went to TRICARE from the VA and I was like, wow, something got done in less than 4 years? I'm amazed.
Nice.
I know. So, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit here because, one of the things that we want to be able to make happen here in Maryland is, make sure that this gets legal, gets reclassified. One of the hardest things that we have to be able to do is advocate and lobby for that. So organizations like Normal Maryland have really helped out in this and have taught us how to, state the problem, how to properly contact our representatives, meet them face to face, if that's still even allowed here in the next coming session, in order to basically help our industries, help our farmers, and do a lot more. But one of the things that we often don't understand, Rita, is what is the medical benefits of the marijuana? Say that 4 times fast. Medical marijuana.
Good. Yes, medical benefits, so many really, increased choices for managing, what the issues that you've mentioned, that she's mentioned already, for chronic conditions, unresolved issues with pain. Like you said, there's the process in the medical field, and a lot of times we end up at the end of those processes still searching for relief, and this provides choices and options and more comfort. The MMCC here in Maryland with medical cannabis actually was created out of an inspiration from someone that was in hospice, and the improved comfort for people that are in those stages of life where nothing else is going to address that. We're just seeing big, huge improvements there, and there's so much more when it comes to benefits. If you really look at the studies of the states that have legal access, and the addiction rates are reduced. Specifically with opiates, death rates are reduced. So we're talking about miraculous benefits here, really. Growth for the living, and can help, and more choices and resources for those that are struggling.
So it also sounds like it really affects our economy, provides a boost to our state. And, what is the difference? What is, we understand that medical marijuana is one product, but often we see like CBD signs like everywhere, and oils. What is CBD?
Yeah. So CBD is actually one of the components of the hemp plant. So still medicinal. CBD is non-psychoactive. That's one of the biggest differences between the CBD and medical marijuana, that CBD is you can order it on the internet. You can get it anywhere pretty much now. It's so popular. But one of the biggest differences is it's not psychoactive, and many people are able to use that actually don't have access to the medical marijuana yet. So we start with CBD. Everyone that I see, any kind of issues that they have, that's kind of your baseline. And then, we were discussing, it's a process to get your medical marijuana card. It's a process to gain access to that. So CBD is something immediate that we often can just get immediately, where there is not a bit long process like that to have access to that. The Farm Bill also in 2018, has allowed growth for hemp now. So I'm talking to farmers that are actually growing it, harvesting it, and really helping a lot of people. Veterans are one of them. Like this farm currently I'm working with is actually here for veterans. And that's just one of the huge, benefits of CBD specifically, is that I know a lot of people have access to that, where, we're working on the access to the medical marijuana side more still.
Okay. So this is an open question. So you can get CBD before getting your medical card?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's kind of like a stepping stone and not a gateway drug, is it? It just allows you to give the benefits of the medical marijuana before actually having the actual treatment provided once you get yourself fully screened. Am I correct in this at all?
Pretty much, yes. That's exactly.
All right, awesome. So you brought up hemp. What are some things about hemp that make it special that is not medical marijuana? Anybody can answer. How about you, Rita?
I didn't know if I had anything to say, right? I was going to let her answer. So one of the biggest differences and benefits, I do believe, is that there's no side effects. There's no really a lot of worry of what's going to happen if I try this, and will I fall asleep or will I be crazy? There's no psychoactive effects when it comes to the CBD. No pretty much side effects that I've seen reported or that you read, in the studies. Medical marijuana, there is more that goes into that. There is many different strains. There's many different types. There's many different numbers when it comes to measuring all the different numbers of what the plant is. So it's THC, there's cannabinoids, there's terpenes. I mean, the list of terpenes goes on and on when it comes to medical marijuana, and that's the biggest. Yeah, Jeff commented there. There's just more availability of relief when it comes to the medical marijuana. So so many of the people that we see trying CBD, it'll be great for a good while, and maybe bring some to like a level of homeostasis, like a level of balance in their health. We can't say, it cures, treats, or prevents any actual diseases. But if you Google CBD benefits, you'll find so many, things that you can read up on, and, people are curious. Googling, honestly, has been really the best thing. I typed in what is CBD, and the first thing that comes up is it is a medicinal herb, that it's actually medicinal. So, but on the, again, I want to stress the difference in the comfort level of being able to use CBD, knowing it's not going to have psychoactive effects.
Okay, awesome. That's amazing. Now we were talking a little bit earlier about like hemp creek. We are also talking about dietary fibers, and I picked plastic because I've seen exactly what these products are. Can you tell us a little bit more about those dietary fibers or fibers and fabrics that you were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the plant itself is just the crop of a hemp plant is fascinating. You can grow way more hemp than you can cotton in a same area. Producing is just huge. The environmental footprint that hemp offers too, as far as planting, is very, very small. We don't need any minimal pesticides, if any. No herbicides and things like that. It's just a sustainable and profitable crop. There's just no way around that. The proof is in what everyone sees and what's out there, what studies are showing. And the cool thing is it can actually replace so many things. Like you say, talk about plastic, which is a huge environmental footprint. Why not replace that? But also things like wood and, like you mentioned, the hempcrete, like there's just endless possibilities when it comes to the hemp plant, and all parts of the plant are used. The flower and the aerial parts are for the oils, the medicinal parts, the tinctures, and then the stalk and the rest of the plant is what they use to create, anything pretty much. I mean, anything our hearts desire, which, we deserve that. We deserve those choices and the option to be able to have a crop of something that we can create what we want, and pretty much everything we want. It's amazing.
Okay. How about Mary? Any idea of what type of products could be made with hemp?
I think one of the things that I've seen that I've been the most interested in is either the clothing that you can see, or some of the home products that I've made from hemp. Toothbrushes and scrubbing brushes and different things like that I've seen made from hemp. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, awesome. Now, we already kind of deep dived into plastics, but the thing is like that's stuff that can be used in cars and basically make it kind of like a carbon fiber. The other simple thing that hemp can be made into is paper. We still use a lot of paper around this world in a digital age. Cards, business cards, postcards, it's all can be made out of something that can grow very quickly. And in fact, any type of oil that comes out of this product can also be used as a biofuel, which can help us reduce our actual use of fossil fuels. Imagine just like not having to import anything else. President Trump says we're exporting everything, which I really don't believe, because we still have oil tankers out on the, the Gulf of Mexico, the West Coast and the East Coast, and they're bringing oil in and taking natural gas out and other substances. So we're in business. It's just, how are we actually doing as a country? We've seen our gas prices gone down, but we've seen them go down before, and we've seen them go up before. So we just need this as an alternative fuel source to make sure that it is able to help everyone. Now, how can we get this to help small businesses? I'll leave this open.
Small businesses, right now it's kind of like, in the environment that I'm in anyway, I see a lot of crisis when it comes to small business. And I do see this as improvement for small business. There's so much potential when it comes to the processing of the products and the benefits of the products, and like you said, the crop is fascinatingly easy and cheap to grow in a small area. Like there's just so much you could do as far as business goes, and all the think of all the things we've mentioned that you produce. Like those can all be turned into businesses for farmers, or the people that are doing business with the farmers are going to help many small businesses. Like there's just no way around that.
Well, I agree. One of the hardest things that I think that we honestly need to change is the economics of it, because normally you need a lot of money to get this product started into a business, and normally you probably can't even get a loan from the bank, or apply for grants or any type of aid from the federal government, because you are growing this crop, because it's still on Schedule 1, and we need to be able to get it off of Schedule 1 so that is easily accessible. Because even with corporations that are in our community, they have an upper hand on this. They're able to do deep dive investments, maybe cut some red tape. They know a good congressman or senator that can get this done, maybe piggyback with the governor and get things done. But that's just not the way, we can help our small communities. So one of the other things that a lot of businesses should be able to do is do something as easy as grow vertical. Many people are doing things indoors so that they can grow year round. And from what I understand, this is something that can really help our farmers, because they might have limited land. So how can hemp help our farmers?
So providing resources, growing hemp. Just being in a grow right now that's harvesting, and seeing the amount of production that's possible, again, in the short amount of time. It takes 3 to 4 months for the total growth and process to harvest. So, right, you mentioned indoor and vertical growth, and that's just that there's no limit really to how much small businesses could grow, based on their comfort and what their goals and plans are for their business. But I think the variety it offers, that hemp offers, is just what's fascinating and magical. There's many small businesses. There's so many interests, and this just gives a lot of options for farmers.
Okay. I agree. I think one of the strongest things that we can do is also work with the co-ops. What have you heard from them about, getting hemp legalized, getting it to be able to be available for every farmer? Besides the, crazy HOAs who say, oh, it smells, but yet you decided to live next to a farm. What can kind of be done about this type of, indulgence? Yes,
I'm learning more about that every day. That's for sure. That something could be stigmatized based on the odor is fascinating to me. Anyways, there's no chicken farms and cow farms that are being shut down. That's ridiculous. And we're learning. I'm learning more about that. Just that you mentioned that is, I'm looking to see if there's mentioning anything there.
No, there isn't, because I brought it up because I saw it in my app called Nextdoor, and they're like, I can't believe that there's this hemp farm next to me and all I smell is this whenever it blows. And I'm like, well, you used to smell horses, you used to smell chicken, you used to smell this, but now what is the farmer growing in order to make a buck? This. He can't turn his land into a vineyard because there's all the other ones out there. And that also takes a lot longer. So the farmer needs to be able to make money. And like we said, this product allows us to grow something in 3 to 4 months, which, allows people to get things to the consumers. So, how long is a production time maybe for a product before a consumer can get it? Mary, do you know an answer maybe for that one?
Not a clue, but I did have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if anyone has the answer or not, but so if the growing time for hemp is 3 to 4 months from, I assume, seed to harvest, does that mean that they would be able to plant the same crops 3 times a year? Or is there some crop rotation that needs to happen? Does it pull a lot from the soil?
I think it pulls a lot of carbon from the air as long as the pollutants and stuff, but still we want to be able to make sure that they have a crop rotation. So to get that incorporated into it, you know, normally farmers have about 10 to 100, 200, 300 acres. And if I was in Afghanistan again, I'd be like, look, these people have a quarter of an acre, and they rotate their crops. And I'm like everything's subdivided off into quarter acres. And I mean, like, they have like 10 to 20 acres and they're all divided off into quarter acres. So the Afghans had it pretty well down packed for their individual farming in order to grow what they could. And then, of course, they didn't grow hemp. They grew something else that is completely illegal. But other than that, you know, we can actually help our communities by, you know, taking whatever type of acreage that they have and dividing it so that they can grow it like and have a harvest every month. You know, especially if they're able to grow it indoors for the winter months that we have here. It'd be amazing for them, you know, to have something as cash come in every month for harvest. So, you know, when it comes to the winter months, hey, start growing it in those old chicken coops that aren't working anymore. There you go. That's the way to do it, you know. And then guess what? All that smell stays indoors. No more, you know, crazy HOAs saying, hey, look, it stinks because we built your development next to a farmer. Because a farmer went out of business before that home was built, or homes in the HOA. So I think we've covered a lot. Any questions for me tonight? No? Okay. All right. Well, let's check. Any questions in from our audience? It says, also as a farmer, you can get your CBD test higher than 3.1% THC. Feds take it from the farmers and burn. So yeah, we also have an issue with the ATF, DEA. So we need to be able to get that regulated and fixed. And I have to say that the farmers have a hard time in order to keep something at a certain percentage, because you're trying to tame nature and what it wants to grow naturally and wild. So there has to be something of post-production in order to, you know, lower that THC content. Let's see. And of course, we're all smart. We can figure this out. Chemists, engineers, and stuff, you know, some auto mechanic may be able to figure this one out better than I can. Help our farmers, you know, get invested into the hemp product and CBD, and let's figure this out together. You know, we don't need Scott Manley to, you know, figure it out as a NASA rocket engineer. Okay, so CBD may need to be staggered plant to protect your growth season. Yep, we covered that one. So thank you very much for that, Jeff. And nothing else came in from our stream. So with that, thank you for joining me on this last night of our conversation about marijuana, how to get it, how to see what type of products are made, and what our future will hold as we work together to make this possible. So with that, have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, Mia.
Bye.
Yeah, good night.